Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to tonight's race. I am Baka Shinobi, and I am joined by Gundam pilot Spaz. How are you doing this evening, Gundam?
Oh, I'm really excited to watch some top tier Free Enterprise tonight.
Yeah, this is definitely an exciting match. This is an elimination match in the Magma route. We have StupidSecksyFlanders versus Chocosura. Both of them came through some pretty rough competition to get to the Magma route, and only one of them is going to be able to get to advance to the 2-1 play-in race. This is a high-stakes match for both of our runners.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's not going to be easy for them when they get through this race. They will only qualify for the lower tier play-in match, which has a fairly low probability of them moving on anyway.
Yeah, that play-in match is only going to be the top 3 from all the runners in that race, and that race is going to be stacked with a lot of solid opponents. And we can see our objectives here. It is a Rosa start, where the base objective of Forge the Legend Sword with the Adamant is there, but then we also have Burn the Village of Mist with the package, Unlock the Sewer with the Bearing Key, and Open the Toria Treasury. So you're not going to need to complete any of those quests, though the package will require you to sit through a bit of a cutscene. But as soon as you find either 3 or 4 key items and a way to Threemus, you're in go mode.
Yeah, all of our objectives tonight are gated by key items. Not exactly what I love to see on these flags. I prefer to see one open objective that we could just walk right into. So those key items could be anywhere in any dungeon, including the very deepest and most difficult ones in the game.
Indeed, we might go and see a bit of the moon, which is pretty frequently faded because you can get enough of your objectives completed without touching it, or even all of them. So, with so many key items required, you might go and be seeing people required to go to the moon. What would be even worse would be if you have to, you can unlock the Bearing Key and then walk away from that dungeon, but behind that Bearing Key is an Earth Crystal or a Legend Sword or the package. We can go and have some of these chain into each other without really being able to tell until we've completed them, which is going to be a bit of a gamble for both these runners. They're both 2 very high-tier runners, and without knowing where the other one's going, they're going to have a lot of places to be worried about leaving open to their opponent.
Yeah, that package check that's required tonight is not something that we see often on these flags because there's so many open characters, and that really is really played as a desperation move when you're looking for a character on flags with kind of more restricted character settings. So it's gonna be a slow one to do, but it'll be at least something interesting that we haven't seen as much in this tournament.
Yeah, it's not very often that you're going and struggling for a character because we have C relaxed on, which means that any character can be in any location, and with what we're starting, we can go and see who we're starting with. And a nice Rosa Kane start with the Earth Crystal, so objective number 4 is going to be completed nigh instantaneously, I think, because that Earth Treasury, lots of good stuff there. When you start a seed, you want to check for a lot of stuff. I can see...
We'll be able to play chat's favorite game show almost immediately in this seed.
Oh yes. We will go and get to do a bit of treasury raiding very soon, though maybe our runners will be looking around for a Tella just to save those extra few seconds of exiting out rather than walking out.
Yeah, in most cases, I'm probably going to be checking at least one of the character spots before running over and looking at that treasury, just so if I pull some good items, I can get them on quick, and I really have a good understanding of what my party composition is going to be.
And it looks like StupidSecksyFlanders is going straight to the city to pull some characters, while Chocosura is going straight to the treasury. And StupidSecksyFlanders finds an Edge and a second Kane, so Edge is a real big find. He goes and starts at level 25 and getting good equipment. But here we go. Chocosura has opened the treasury door, has completed objective number 4 in less than a minute 30, and let's raid this treasury. Ooh, an Avenger. A Leviathan Summoner is nice. A Stardust Rod, a Life Staff, a Murasame. These are all looking like some pretty solid things in there. I'm inclined to go and give this a 7 out of 10. Avenger is good. No Power Robe, though.
Yeah, maybe even an 8, especially once both of our runners have that edge in the party. Longsword plus a Murasame is gonna have him doing some serious damage real quick.
Yeah, the biggest qualm I have with that Murasame is the fact that it gives -5 agility, which is actually kind of relevant just because early on you want edge taking as many turns as possible, and then you're going to be stuck with the decision of, do I want to slow down edge and potentially get other characters to go and clog up my queue, or do I just want edge to hit harder and maybe get him berserk so I don't have to worry about that?
Yeah, I tend to vote for I want edge to hit as hard as possible.
Entirely fair. And chocosura going and selling off some of that stuff, going and buying some exits in the Toria shop. That is rather convenient. So only getting one, I think, but early on that might be all you need. And getting some extra Starvels as well.
Meanwhile, Flanders is getting his ninja swords and clearing his treasury. Hopefully, going to throw on that Hanzo steel real quick. And once we start encountering some bosses, they're going to fall to that edge very quickly.
Oh yeah, this edge is going to go and do a lot, but that Kane with an Avenger is going to be able to do a lot too. And StupidSecksyFlanders is choosing to go straight to the Tower of Zot. Is not choosing to go and check the rest of the 3B characters to go to Antlion Cave, is just going straight up here. Are they going to be checking just the boss, looking for a Flame Dog, or are they just going to try and clear this on the back of Edge?
Yeah, Zot is not the quickest check, and it wouldn't be my first choice to do on the overworld. However, with the edge, it certainly makes it doable, and combining Zot and the treasury check into one will save him a little time, maybe overall.
Yeah, without exit, you're just walking there anyway, so why not go and spend a bit of extra time and just simply get this checked? Meanwhile, chocosura is going for the more standard opening spot of Antlion Cave. Very weak boss there, only has 1,000 HP, gonna go down pretty quickly. StupidSecksyFlanders just going through and fixing all of his equipment, has a lot of things, does not have a good weapon for that second cane. That looks like he's going to just be on the fire sword, does not find the flame dog in that chest, might go looking for all the other chests, but might just go straight up to the top.
Encountering the true final boss of Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise, menuing.
Yeah, there's a lot of menuing. At least their inventories aren't so cluttered that they're not dealing with the inventory boss as well.
Yeah, the difference between a runner who is very good at menuing and one who is just okay at menuing could add up to a couple minutes overall, depending how much items they pull.
Oh yeah, and that's especially if you're fighting with the inventory with. I'm guilty of having too much stuff and then trying to go and sort through the things I have and then getting stuck and waiting. But here is StupidSecksyFlanders has found the flame dog, was going out of their way to find it, and is going to go and take it down pretty quickly. Avenger Kane just automatically swinging for 660 damage. Edge doing 852. Solid damage, especially for this stage of the game, and we'll see if they pull something really good out of this chest. And in the meantime, chocosura has found the Magus Sisters. A Dragoon Spear is definitely not the worst thing to find. It is interesting that chocosura has chosen not to go and go and pick up any characters, just deciding to go and ride off this Roseanne Kane to start with. And gets the Baron Key. We have 2 objectives right away. We are now just one more, we can potentially a package and a way to Threemus away from Go Mode. Could not even require going down to the bottom, to the underworld. Just get what you need.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. Like if you can completely route out an entire map in Final Fantasy IV, you're going to be saving a ton of time.
Yeah, and chocosura opens up that sewer door. It has completed objective number 3. Meanwhile, StupidSecksyFlanders is going up to the Tower of Zot, has encountered the Dark Elf in the first position. Not going to be a terribly rude boss.
No, it's Dark Elf is pretty easy anywhere outside of his magnet cave. Without any heavy magic dealers though, that second form is not going to be choosable like it would with a higher level party.
True, but I did see that StupidSecksyFlanders chose to Avenger glitch their Kane with a Dragoon Spear, so I don't think they're going to be too concerned with the turns that Dark Elf gets.
Yeah, I'll often forget that second form of Dark Elf is technically a dragon.
Yep. Dragon and weak to Holy as well, though it does absorb, oddly enough, the Holy spell. The Holy Swords, they do a lot of damage.
That's right. So Dark Elf second form, technically a dragon. Bahamut, the Lord of Dragons, not so much.
Now, and welcome to our Raiders from RPG Limit Break. We have a very quick start to this seed. Our 4 objectives are Forge the Legend Sword with the Adamant, Burn the Village of Mist with the Package, Unlock the Sewer with the Baron Key, and Open the Toria Treasury with the Earth Crystal. We started with the Earth Crystal. Baron Key was in Antlion Cave.
Chocosura looks like he encountered Pain Man as the second boss in the Baron Inn and is resetting out of it very quickly.
He did have Kane equipped with an Avenger. He was probably expecting to, if he let that go, to simply die because Pain Man normally does 3 Dark Waves and says, okay, here's a speech about justice and we're done here. If you attack him at any point with a normal attack, he resets and says, no, we're doing 3 more waves until you stop hitting me. And with the Avenger... Go ahead.
No, that's the one downside of using the Avenger. Even though it hits hard and casts Berserk, there's a handful of bosses that you really don't want to start swinging at when you find them.
No, the Dark Knight Cecil is definitely at the top of the list. Also, speaking of top of the list, we find Sid and Edward at the top of Zot. Probably not the top of the list you have for characters you want to see there. But Chokasur going to Fabul Castle to go and start taking... just leaving that Baron Inn, not happy with that, going somewhere else. Not picking up any more characters as well, so he does not go and get this Edge who is waiting for him in the Cydia.
Looks like Octomammoth is our boss who is attacking Fabul today. Should not be too difficult, although would be a much faster fight with the extra Kane and the Edge.
Agreed. Octomam is just going to physically punch the characters while after the 3rd hit, he's going to lose a tentacle, and every 2 hits after that, he'll lose another tentacle, slowing him down. Meanwhile, we see in the Tower of Zot, the second boss is Odin. I believe StupidSecksyFlanders found it in Thunderclaw, but this boss is already down, so StupidSecksyFlanders finishes up the Tower of Zot, and we'll see what they get rewarded with from completing this spot.
Yeah, if this doesn't play out for Flanders, he's going to be a little behind on the checks, but did gain a little bit time with Chokosura resetting out of the Baron Inn spot.
Indeed. Also, this does give Rosa Exit, which, fun fact, Rosa does not go and learn Exit by level or experience. She learns it by completing this location.
Yeah, oftentimes when I'm deep in a Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Seed, I forget that I didn't do Tower of Zot, and I end up deep in the moon with no way to quickly exit.
Yep. I've been there myself. Also, StupidSecksyFlanders only getting a Dragoon Spear for completing Zot. He's got 2 over Chokosura 0, but not what he was hoping for, I'm thinking, and is going into Baron Inn and is going to go and run into that Dark Knight Cecil as well, it seems.
Yeah, Flanders without the Avenger equipped by default, I don't believe.
I think in the last fight he had the Avenger on that bottom cane. Yep, there's that Avenger. It's just going to be coming out swinging for 1,000 damage each. He might just be fine with, okay, well, Dark Knight Cecil's here. I'm just going to go and take this. And Chokosura finding a Tella on the top of Mount Hobbs guarded by a Mylon. And StupidSecksyFlanders just, yep, he's accepting that, well, I'm going to go and not get a speech about justice. I'm just going to have to go and chew through all this HP here, which, considering that Cecil has not taken an action, not going to be too bad, I think.
No, not an overly high HP spot, and those dark waves are probably not going to do too much damage here if he can even get one off.
That's a big if, as it turns out to be a no. Who knew a party of Canes would go either way to kill Dark Knight Cecil? And gets the Magma key, so that is underground access for StupidSecksyFlanders.
And potentially a huge benefit to Flanders. We'll see how long chocosura takes before he returns to Baron Inn to do the scripted fight.
Yeah, that's gonna be a little awkward for chocosura. Might not be interesting going back there because he faded, but he's only going to run out of options as we're going to Mount Ordeals now, and the only remaining checks on the overworld for chocosura after Ordeals will be Baron Inn, Baron Castle, or Tower of Zod, which we know Tower of Zod, being the long check it is not going to go and have a lot of value.
Yeah, Baka, what do you think of chocosura's strategy right now? He's not filling out his party, which on these group flags is I at least want to get 5 members in my party as quick as possible, even if I'm going to dump them later.
Normally, I don't like picking up a lot of characters in my party because, say I have an Edge. Well, I don't want to go and have anyone getting between Edge's turn and requiring me to go and just press parry, parry, parry. So I'm fine going and having a small party, but if I have an Avenger Kane, I don't really worry about going and passing turns because the Avenger automatically applies to Berserk the character, so they're going to be automatically attacking. I wouldn't feel bad about going around and checking for some extra characters. I would probably go and give if you find an Edge, that definitely goes and gives you a bit of a speed advantage.
Probably might be a little bit of a preview for the table flakes coming up, where I think very often players are going to be having 3 characters for fairly deep into mid-game in the seeds in some cases.
Yeah, going and sticking with a small party it's helpful sometimes just because, again, Edward is not going to be doing much of anything in the seed. He's not going to be doing much for chocosura, I think. I don't think either of our runners are terribly fond of Eddie strats and are going to be going and pushing for those. But even then, Edward, we can go and give him the spoon if we find it. He's doing good damage then, but would still not be my preference.
No, I mean, even if we're in go mode at 20-25 minutes, if you're not fully comfortable with Eddie strats, he's not going to be much benefit.
Yeah. Also, StupidSecksyFlanders looting a little bit in the Path to Fame and finds a ninja sword, which is one of Edge's better weapons, debatably better than a Murasame sometimes, because it does not have -5 agility, but does give the +5 strength.
One of the huge benefits to the S standard flag is finding those ninja swords in gated shops, and in a lot of seeds that I've played, buying one of those swords and on Edge kind of carries through a lot of this game.
And speaking of carrying through the game, we found music. That's another key item in that area, though not required. It could go and lead to one of our other objectives. And I'm curious if StupidSecksyFlanders is going to go for it.
Do like doing music when I already have a character with exit. It's kind of a even longer check without. But I also like to combine it with the Zot check if I'm getting down to those last couple overworld checks.
Yeah, it is a long check. It has a long cutscene, and it gives only 1 key item and 1 boss check. chocosura has gone through 2 bosses, going to see 1 more boss check and get their key item for completing ordeals. Ooh, and we find Tanazo at the Queen Ashura spot, and Bahamut at the King spot.
And as we know, they are canonically married if they are in those spots.
I just we see Val at the top of ordeals. I didn't catch the key item there.
Yeah, it went pretty quickly, but the tracker did not light up anything.
Let's just go and take a quick look back.
Yeah, Pancras, can you confirm what the key item, what the item was at the top of Ordeals?
It was an arty bow. So, chocosura finding Artemis bow, Artemis arrows, really nice equipment, particularly for Rosa. Not what you want to see in your key item checks, though. So now he's either down to going back to that Baron Inn and clearing through it, or going to the Tower of Zot or clearing the Castle Baron. Meanwhile, StupidSecksyFlanders has not gone to Antlion Cave yet.
The arty arrows and arty bow does make a low-level Siren egg grind a lot faster. Combine that with the dragoon spear we've already found, and a third of the characters can deal deadly damage and get through those eggs really quick.
Yeah, that's having an early dragon weakness weapon is great. And chocosura is going back into the Baron Inn, is not going and checking more of the free character spots either.
So I wonder how long Flanders is going to fade that Antlion check, which yields an objective. It's once you have underground access, it can be tempting to never return to a couple of these overworld checks, especially the longer dungeon ones. But it's an easy spot and something that when I skip it early, it's always burning in the back of my mind that my opponent has already been there and perhaps got something that I want.
For me, I usually just, if I don't do it the first check, I kind of forget that Antlion is ever a thing. So even if I start with a Magma key, I'm very likely to just do Antlion Cave before I go underground, simply because I know I'll forget if I don't do it otherwise, and I tell myself, I'm going to go and do this in the hopes of getting the pan.
Yeah, underground there's a lot more tempting checks. The double dwarf castle on these flags with the warp glitch is just a lot denser than Antlion, and if you can pull a tower key, then that's also a double check.
Yeah, and speaking of that double check, only chocosura has found a warp caster so far, in the form of that Tella at Hobbs. He actually has 2 Edwards and none of the edges. Meanwhile, StupidSecksyFlanders is working hard to kill off that Sid. It looks like they're going to go and commit to anchoring with Sid now.
Yeah, Hobbs is another location that I think was like an automatic check on, say, the Fabul Gauntlet flags. But here, with free characters on, can often route it out if you're already happy with your party.
Yeah, to answer the question, what was that Baron Inn? It was the Magma key, guarded by, I can't remember the first spot. Viking in the first spot, and Dark Knight Cecil in the second spot. Thank you, X-Pancras, for pointing that out. But now chocosura is going and checking the characters, leaving a Cecil at the water pass, not going and committing to adding them to the party. I like this play because we have the vanilla agility flag on, which means if Cecil is in your party, he is the agility anchor. And if you don't know if you want to use him, better to leave him as an option rather than committing.
Yeah, that watery pass character, so close to the Troya and that pass option to getting to Zeromus, I like leaving them as a backup agility anchor towards. So I have that in case I accidentally need to level up the rest of my characters.
I just like leaving Cecils around the event I go and find a second Cecil. I know, okay, I can take one Cecil, level him up, grab that second Cecil, completely dumpster their agility, and make them my anchor, and just get a whole bunch of power on that Cecil wielding probably some level of Holy Sword.
chocosura is making his way underground, and Flanders remembering that Antlion check.
That is definitely an easy check to forget at this point. Walking in, walking out, going back to their airship as well, and not doing the Antlion check yet.
Oh, no, Baka, I hate it.
Are they... I'm curious what is driving them away from this Antlion check, to be entirely honest.
Yeah, decided instead of fighting a boss, he wants to do some shopping instead. I do wonder what this decision is motivated by.
Yeah, they did go and get the Sand Ruby from Sheila 1, so they did go and check the character, see that it was Yang, and then promptly turn around because Yang is a character who needs absurd amounts of levels in order to go and do any appreciable damage compared to the rest of the characters in this party. And chocosura finds a shop selling Gungnir spears, which is pretty good when you don't have any of those Blizzard spears. And really going and selling out a fair bit, trying to afford one, and just not being able to come up with the money.
Looks like Flanders doing a little bit of a demist hunt. He looks like, it feels like he's running into some difficulty with his routing right now, knowing that these objectives are gated by a single key item. I think he's looking for maybe a darkness crystal or something.
Yeah, he's checking to see if there's any exposure for an open Demus, not finding one. Did StupidSecksyFlanders check all the item shops? Maybe he was looking for sirens and didn't find any, is now going and doing a bit of other checks.
I don't think Flanders went to Tamara.
Okay, so yeah, I'm curious. They are, however, going to Twin Harp. They are ready for that check, they feel. So with Twin Harp, we go and get a little special treat.
That's right, Buck. It's one of chat's favorite features of this randomizer. Our friend DJ Spoony B, he likes to play some music to help our party out here, but the original harp song is not the most exciting tune in the world.
Indeed, and what's the fun of having a randomizer if you don't go and randomize some things that aren't the locations of bosses and fights? So get your free harps out in chat, as we're going to find out what song Edward is going to be playing for us today.
I think one of the exciting parts of this tournament is how we can get a lot of excitement over something as silly as whether someone's going to do Antlion, which is pretty much the very first real dungeon in the game.
Yeah, there's a lot of options open in Free Enterprise, surprisingly enough. StupidSecksyFlanders is able to just go and charge straight at the Tower of Zot, and didn't even need to go and touch the first, one of the first dungeons in the game. So there's a lot to go and appreciate here. And speaking of appreciation, chocosura is appreciating fighting Bahamut, as he is using Starveils, and is probably not going to be going and doing this fight too much in this fight, at least. But I am going to be quiet while we go and listen to the music. And chat is reminding me that it's been a number of years since I have gone and played Final Fantasy X and heard the Thunderplains theme. Also, we're getting the Calprina dolls, which might be a rather awkward fight here, just because we only have fighters and no good way of doing AoE damage, and if you don't go and take out all of the dolls before they form, which happens after you take out all of one type of doll, you're going to get the big doll, which is going to be kind of annoying here. Oh, but we do have an hourglass in the inventory. That might be able to go and fix things.
Would a Stardust or a Gaia Drum here help us with the amount of magic defense in this spot?
The dolls might not go and get all of the magic defense. So maybe that would go and fix things. And I missed what chocosura got from defeating Bahamut.
It was a coffin.
Well, that's guaranteed to kill something that's not immune to instant death, so technically you could use it on the Cow Dolls. Probably not what chocosura was looking for, though.
Something I'd like to find in an item shop, but not as a reward for killing the King of Dragons.
Agreed, but StupidSecksyFlanders finds the adamant behind the Twin Harp. That puts him halfway to objective number 1. We are now one of 2 key items away from the crystal, and another key item in the form of either the Past or the Darkness crystal away from Go mode.
Yep, picking up that adamant may make up for fading Antlion at this point and getting closer to objective number 1, where while objective number 3 remains completely available to him, but he just won't dive that Antlion cave.
Does not believe in the heart of Antlion. And chocosura is going and doing the checks that StupidSecksyFlanders did, checking the bosses to see if they can find a Threemus to hiding out. And while we are going and watching our runners do a couple things that are not that we've seen a bit before, I'd like to give a shout out to our restreamers, Zoe Vermillion, and our tracker, X Pancraz. Both of them are going and putting in a lot of work so we can go and give you a good show today. Also, shout outs to my co-commentator, Gundam Pilot Spaz. Thank you for joining me today on commentary.
Thank you, Baka. It's always great to hear you on comms.
Thank you very much. I'm always happy to do these comms because Free Enterprise is a game I'd love to talk about, maybe a little too much.
Flanders is done teasing us with this Antlion check and finally going to dive this dungeon and collect his Baron Key.
I wonder if they go straight to that Baron Key because they're going to realize how long that has been open and how long they've been ignoring that. Almost a half hour into the siege for something that can be checked in the first 5 minutes. And chocosura, in the meantime, does go and get their Sand Ruby, so they can go and see that there's a Yang for them in Typo. But then, curious to where chocosura is going to go next.
I would imagine that chocosura is going to want to take on that Dwarf Castle check. Having Kella with Warp, he'll be able to get 2 key item checks for 1. And those bosses aren't that tough. Although I don't think we found Sirens, and that's definitely a fight that I like to pop at least maybe 1 egg if I don't feel like I have the levels for it.
Yeah, that's something I was noticing. We don't really seem to have Sirens, so we're not able to go and just quickly power up our characters. That said, we do have an option of getting them. We could just go to the lower Babel, open one of those trap chests, and steal Sirens from one of the alerts.
Certainly slower than buying them, but a lot cheaper.
And if they're not in shops, hey, I'll go and take that over, well, not having them.
Yeah, the sirens on these flags have been extremely valuable, and not having them is a detriment. I mean, there's other grind options if you don't have sirens and don't have moon access, but they're not fun and they're not fast.
No, sirens are definitely a very quick way to go and infuse your party with experience. And chocosura not even needing to pop a siren as we find the King and Queen Evelyn fight. This is the freest fight in the game. And yeah, this is going to go and give some good experience as well.
Yeah, good finding it as the first fight in Dwarf Castle. I'm not going to be too upset about that. Much prefer finding it on the moon, though.
Yeah, though, without sirens easily available, this could go and be a real big boon for our runners, just because they can go and easily just get through this fight, get a good chunk of experience, and be in a much better position to take on the next one. Also, chocosura is knocking down their cane. Looks like they want to go and have cane anchor at some point.
Yeah, I think both bosses of Dwarf Castle will net you about, 42,000 experience?
The first boss, I believe, is a base 30,000 experience, and the second boss is a base 20,000 experience. And speaking of experience, StupidSecksyFlanders has walked into the greatest experience of the seed, the Alt Gauntlet. 5 random battles picked from the surrounding area to go and just eat up your time. It replaces the Fabul Gauntlet, which is the set of fights that you encounter when you're defending Fabul.
You'll love to see it, especially from our view 10,000 feet up.
I mean, from our view, I'd much rather see it at the Ogopogo altar holding a required item, but I'll take it here.
Yeah, so chocosura did open our sewer door, but he did not go into Baron Castle to challenge this gauntlet and the king spot. So Flanders doing some new ground here, and we're going to get us a peek at this key item once he's through his 5 random encounters.
And we find a second Cecil. Does chocosura want? Nope, chocosura does not want Cecil.
Team Never Cecil, stand strong.
Ironic, because this karate fight is completely free with Cecil in your party. Get a punch, 2 kicks, and second punch, and then hit the karate with Cecil, and this fight is done. Granted, this fight's not really going to be too hard anyways, but I am amused by that.
I never said Team Never Cecil was always right. I just said we're standing strong.
And StupidSecksyFlanders is still going and getting through this unfortunately long alt gauntlet fight. He's got fighters, he's going to be able to go and take them down in one shot each. It's just taking multiple shots each time.
It could speed it up a little bit, maybe with Edge's flame. I don't know if I saw him do that, but maybe he did it once and realized it wasn't enough damage to take out the group.
Yeah, that's entirely plausible. It's really easy to just barely not hit that damage threshold, but we see chocosura hitting that warp glitch. And let's see what is at the back of Sealed Cave. A rat tail.
It's a key item, but its chief purpose is gaining a second key item, which we can't turn in until we get a hook.
Yep, is Luca going to go and give us the hook? Is she wearing one of those around her neck today? No, but she is wearing heavy kitchenware. That's the pan that opens up 2 more checks in the form of the Sylph check and the second Sheila check. And we do have sirens. They are in Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, the sirens being in Dwarf Castle is a little bit of a sneak. Don't always love to check this item shop until I'm ready to fight those bosses, just for time save.
I've actually gotten fond of going into Dwarf Castle twice. Once to loot the place, because the loot in Dwarf Castle is equivalent to Watery Pass, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to buy that costs a lot of money, so I don't mind having those extra items. And it lets me hit that shop and see, alright, do I have sirens? No, I don't have sirens. Or, hey, I do have sirens. Let's get some of those as soon as possible.
It's one of those loot locations I need to practice a couple times, because every time I route it into an actual game, I get lost and end up bumping into walls and such.
It is a place I have gone and practiced pretty considerably. The towers get very annoying.
Yeah, one of my favorite things as a kid about Final Fantasy IV is all those kind of invisible paths that you have to find and sneak around. When trying to speedrun it, it's not my favorite thing.
Yeah, it's I may or may not have played this game functionally once a year for about 20 or 30 years, so I learned every single path. But chocosura finds the darkness crystal at the pan. That is a way to Zeromus. Chocosura is either a package or a Twin Harp Dive and a Legend Sword away from Go Mode.
Yeah, and chocosura taking a pretty substantial lead over Flanders here. The one benefit to Flanders is that that pan was not behind the warp glitch, so if he decides to do Dwarf Castle, he will be rewarded with it.
That said, he did just pick up Callum at Baron Castle. He now has a warp caster. Well, once he gets Callum 100,000 experience at least.
Yeah, that's Hopefully he checks the dwarf item shop for those sirens, because Palom does require cracking a few eggs to get him to those warp levels.
Yeah. Oh, the pan turns into a crystal sword. His chocosura regretting not taking the first Cecil at Dwarf Castle.
Ooh, Flanders picking up a tower key in the Baron trash can. This turns that tower into 2 key item checks, and he might be thinking taking on these bosses will give him enough experience to get that Palom to warp levels. So maybe a little bit of a rat hole here for Flanders.
Tower key goes and gives the package or the legend sword. That's going to be pretty huge. Chocosura is going straight to Watery Pass and saying, "Hessel, get in this party."
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Chocosura decides to do with the Darkness Crystal. Do you stay on Earth, complete these open checks that you have? Do you run up, do a D-machine grind, getting your party to end game and start clearing that moon?
Yeah, that is a real rough check. And Chocosura is going to Baron. I wonder if they're going to be going into Baron Castle now. They're going to be going and seeing a back row glitch on Cecil. The back row glitch, for those who are unaware, if you equip a character with a long-range weapon, and then unequip it, the long-range bit still gets set and is never removed on a character ever. That means they'll be doing full damage from the back row and to enemies in the back row. Chocosura is just diving straight into Baron Castle, gives a very shiny sword to a very shiny Cecil, and does loot a heroine robe as well. So if you really want to go deep on that Warrior Princess Rosa strat, you can give her that Artemis bow, the Artemis arrows, and a heroine robe, and she is going to be hitting mighty powerfully.
Chocosura it'll be interesting to see what levels he wants to get his Cecil to. He did reject the second Cecil at Dwarf Castle. He would be lucky to find a second one somewhere deeper into the seed, but without that second Cecil, he's relying on this first Cecil to be his agility anchor, and getting too high of levels makes that Threemus fight very rude.
Indeed, though. To be fair, if you have a Rosa and a Crystal Sword Cecil, you could have 3 other lumps of steel as your party, and you would still get through it just fine, because Crystal Sword Cecil is just that stinking good. But, go ahead.
No, it's just there's a reason that the admins decided to kind of punish our runners for taking Cecil, and that Crystal Sword is one of those big reasons.
That Crystal Sword is a really, really disgustingly powerful piece of equipment. And we do see StupidSecksyFlanders stealing some sirens from the alert. And Chocosura is getting into that alt gauntlet fight. May have been trying to avoid it because he did remember, maybe they remembered it was a blue robe, but Chocosura just dealing with this fight anyways. Rosa doing 1,700 points of damage. I think this is going to be another reasonably quick fight, but again, no melee.
Yeah, there are 2 bosses with that blue robe sprite on the overworld. One is this alt gauntlet. The other one is the water hag. One is a terrible slog. The other is basically free.
Yeah, and we're going to see 1,700 damage. I wonder what kind of arrows Rosa had, because those fish took dramatically more damage than those crocodiles did.
Maybe lightning arrows? Are they weak to lightning?
Well, I think those are the electric fish, so those are explicitly not weak to lightning. I'm curious now. If anyone spotted that, please let me know, just because I don't know why Rosa did that much damage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
X-Pancreas pointing out, electric fish count as flying enemies, so arrows do double damage. That makes a lot of sense.
Does it, Baka? Does that make a lot of sense?
I mean, we've heard of flying fish, right?
I have, yeah.
It is pretty shocking to me, but hey, apparently electric fish are flying, so...
what's flying and what's not in Final Fantasy IV is kind of it's a game of memorization and not of logic.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, because the elemental fiend of Earth is a flying enemy, so that Quake doesn't hit him. But he takes a lot of damage from bows.
But the CPU boss, which appears to be hovering over the ground, is not flying.
Maybe it's not hovering, maybe it's just rolling back and forth a bit. It is a very nice, oddly smooth sphere. We do find the Baron Guards at the top of Zot because we have found the Officer Soldier fight on Mount Ordeals, so this is a technically free fight. You can go and use that coffin that chocosura found from the Bahamut fight and just kill them outright. Or you can stop them and beat them down mercilessly because we're a little mean like that. And then
there are so many ways to beat the guards that it's fun coming up with new ways every time.
There's also turning them into toads, which is even more rude because they like to counterattack with magic spells. If you punch them, they go and try and turn you into a Lilliputian. If you cast spells on them, they try and turn you into a pig.
You can turn them into Lilliputians, you can mute them and just make them scream nothing at you for the rest of the fight.
Or you can just... Stomp is a great setup summon, if only because it means that there is nothing they can do while you just beat on them mercilessly. We are not a very fair set of fighters.
Oh, there's a good question for you, Baka. Is from chat, while the Milan Z is flying, is the Elements Milan Z flying as well?
I don't think so, actually. I don't believe they take the double damage from arrows, and I do believe you can hit them with Quake. I do believe they absorb Holy Magic so that they absorb Media, which is a holy spell, apparently. Elements in Final Fantasy IV are weird. The Earth Hammer, for reference, is a fire elemental damage weapon.
Even though there are separate Fiend of Fire and Fiend of Earth, there's no Earth element.
Yep. But here Chocosura finds that Palom. Are they going to take them? They've already done the Warp Glitch, and they have a Crystal Sword Cecil. No, they are not taking Palom. And chat pointing out that fun things like Octomam absorbing holy damage because he's weak to darkness, or because she's weak to darkness damage, is a thing as well. But now Chocosura is going to go get that tower key, while StupidSecksyFlanders is still getting through this fight. It is taking them a bit longer than I was honestly expecting this fight to take them. But they are done. They are going to go and get rewarded with some item.
I mean, Rosa looks like she's at relatively low health, so maybe she just doesn't have the size spell, or that's my favorite strategy, turning them into Lilliputians, and then your damage is doubled against them, or even more.
And looks like you're right. I think that is a level 30-something spell for Rosa, so not something she's going to get. And yeah, Palom is still a little shy of getting Warp, needs 2 more levels in order to get Warp. Might have just gotten Toad off of that fight. But StupidSecksyFlanders does not know that the first fight in Dwarf Castle is absolutely free in the form of that Ablin King and Queen. But Chocosura is choosing not to chase the tower key right away, but going to the Baron Throne, while StupidSecksyFlanders finds the tower key has some vanilla Dark Imps. Ooh. And Chocosura is finding a not-so-vanilla Golbez at Odin spot. This is rude. This is not a fight I like to see.
Oh boy, the chat's being very rude and laughing at Chocosura right now.
I mean, the game is too, but the game really went and pulled out all the stops for this. Golbez, when you find him, he will kill off party members until you are down to 2 standing party members, and then he starts throwing spells at you. How much damage he does depends on the spot. Some spots, like the Dark Imp spot, do not have very high magic power and will struggle to do a few hundred points of damage. Spots like the Odin spot are probably going to just start chunking your characters with thousands of points of damage.
That's despite the fact that the Odin is a physical boss fight, but Final Fantasy IV is a very well programmed game, and physical spots have high magic attack.
To be fair, Odin Sentetsuken's attack is magic. It is unreflectable as well.
I guess that is fair, if that's what you want to call it.
Hey now, I have gone and if you really want to see fair, turn on Witchburn and get Odin getting a Wyvern casting Zentetsuken. That's a real fun thing to see. Thousands of points of damage coming out and no way to mitigate it whatsoever. Better hope you have an Edward.
Well, you gave me something to worry about next time I use a Witchburn flag set.
Oh, there's a lot of fun spells, and StupidSecksyFlanders gets a vanilla hook from the Tower Key, which could be something big. We don't know what's behind the Rat Tail, which is from the Warp Glitch.
Yeah, but Flanders looks like he's about to crack a couple eggs, get Pelham up to those warp levels, pick up his pan and his Rat Tail, so we're going to get those checks within the next 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, and chocosura is going to be a man of the people and checking music. So, looks like everyone's going to be crossing paths again. So chocosura has the edge of knowing that Golbez is at that Baron's throne. I don't know if StupidSecksyFlanders has checked that.
No, I believe he just did the main king fight and then moved on.
Yep. And chocosura after this is going to be at 10 key items, and we'll start getting double experience. And same with StupidSecksyFlanders as well. Once they complete this check, they will be at 10 key items and be gaining double experience as well. So that is a pretty big thing. Another big thing is that unlike StupidSecksyFlanders, chocosura had a kamikaze in his inventory and is able to go and kill off Rosa using that. Kelda is still standing until he casts Iris on himself, so he is able to skip all of the animations that StupidSecksyFlanders had to sit through.
Always buy one kamikaze. That's my general rule, just in case you have to end up at this spot.
You know what's even more fun? Having a few kamikazes, but ending the game with a mage party and seeing that, oh, my Yang is not going to be able to do much damage to the CPU that's in the back row. Unless I pull out these kamikazes and use them on the CPU part with Yang's 5,000 HP. Kamikazes, great items!
Yeah, I mean that sounds like it's in character too, because Yang does like blowing himself up.
Yang and Sid are two characters who are very fond of, I will be noble and sacrifice myself to save the team. And coincidentally enough, have the HP to go and use those kamikazes really, really well. Or maybe that is just a very good form of narrative integration with the game.
You might be giving the programmers a little too much credit there.
I mean, it works so nicely.
It does work beautifully, and I'll take that as the reason why Yang is able to stop the super cannons.
Yang goes and he knows that if he punches something hard enough, something will break.
Things happen when I hit my fist with them.
And now StupidSecksyFlanders is going to get the opportunity to see that they have Dark Knight Cecil. Are they going to take? Apparently not. StupidSecksyFlanders has not done ordeals yet, so he does not have a paladin. I wonder if seeing Dark Knight Cecil is going to encourage StupidSecksyFlanders to do ordeals, or if he's content to just leave that alone.
Did Flanders do the watery pass check and dismiss that the Dark Knight down there?
I don't remember, to be entirely honest. I don't know if they checked many characters after they found the Yang and Second Cain. They did go up the Tower of Za afterwards, so I think they still have a number of overall checks left hanging. But here, chocosura gets their adamant, and is now officially one key item away from Go mode, either the Legend Sword or the package.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it appeared a little bit that chocosura was pulling ahead after picking up that Darkness Crystal, but smartly, I think, staying on Earth, completing these checks, still kind of makes this race pretty close.
Yeah, StupidSecksyFlanders hasn't done Ordeals, Chocosura hasn't done the Tower of Zot, and Chocosura also needs to go and complete the lower babble checks, while StupidSecksyFlanders is going and doing the warp checking and going to be hitting that pan very soon. So I think we're in a really close race right now. Both runners really covering each other's ground really well, with one exception that both didn't give anything.
Yeah, they're lucky that neither Zot or Ordeals actually rewarded any key items, so they can quietly fade them and not be punished.
Yeah, though when the StupidSecksyFlanders finds that darkness crystal at Sylphs, I wonder if they're going to be encouraged to do Ordeals just because, oh, I'm leaving that on Earth. Do I want to go and do that, or do I want to keep checking other places? So he will have the opportunity to check Rat Tail. That's going to be what that Rat Tail holds is going to be pretty important for this race, I think.
Yeah, having faded the Hobbs check and not knowing that there's a Tella in the seed, I think when he finds that darkness crystal, he may not even feel very behind at that point.
Yeah, he's got 18 Sirens, he's got 10 key items. He can just take his team up to Zeronis levels now, or whenever he wants, and he is going to be just fine. And Chocosura is seeing that he has the free boss here, is probably going to be getting through it faster than StupidSecksyFlanders because he has Tella. Tella has Weak, and Tella, he also has a Rune Axe that's going to do good damage as well.
Yep, Tella also has Size and a Mute and all the other spells to cheese these guards, so it should be pretty quick.
Yep. And to answer a question from chat from what is the estimated time for this run? This is a randomizer. This is the free Enterprise randomizer, which goes and randomizes the boss locations, the treasures, the characters, and based on the flags, it will go and be rather variable. You can have some flag sets that can take as little as 10 to 20 minutes, and some flag sets that can take hours. These flags are taking usually on average somewhere around an hour and a half, but it is not out of the question for them to dip up to 2 hours.
Yeah, my official races, I think my quickest one was an hour 14, my longest one was 2 hours and 4 minutes. So definitely a pretty good spread once you shuffle everything around.
Yeah, my fastest race for my flags was both runners finishing sub 50 minutes, but that was a bit of an outlier.
And the competitors in that race were also a bit of outliers too.
Turns out when you go and have the former champion in a race, he tends to go and complete things pretty quickly. And I was able to keep up as well. Definitely, you can get some very jetty seats on this.
That is a good opportunity to point out that Free Enterprise is going all night long here. We'll continue to move the viewers to the races as they go on till probably around 11 p.m. tonight, and then tomorrow we have a bunch of exciting races already lined up, including the defending champion Penguinator versus Jeebus, which is going to be a very exciting one.
Yes, Penguinator is the reigning champion of the Zenith Zone, and Jeebus is, while not holding on to a lot of titles, a very strong up-and-coming runner, so that is going to be an exciting race to watch. And Chocosura has gone and finished that guards fight. Is going to get only the spoon, but going down to find the Dark Imps, resetting out. Just not even going and keeping that experience, going back to the save point in the middle of tower to get to that Dark Imps fight faster, it seems.
Very, very smart play. He's already at 10 key items, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so doesn't need that spoon for anything other than for an edge to throw.
Yeah, it's going to be almost guaranteed 9,999 damage because throw damage is the character's level multiplied by the weapon's attack power, and it doesn't take very much for that to go and get up to maximum damage.
Yeah, I find with how many weapons that you get in the on these group flags, having the spoon kind of matters less because you can very easily have a couple holy swords that you can just throw in your back pocket.
Yeah, and if there's a second Cessla around, then he's You put one Cecil as anchor duty, you put the other Cecil as holy sword duty, and you just go to town. But chocosura, through that, is going to go and get their hook, and will be able to go and check that rat tail, while StupidSecksyFlanders, having gone and walked through the Silph Cave, gotten their Darkness Crystal, is grinding eggs up to Zeroma's levels. It looks like they're choosing just to get ready to destroy anything left in the seed, and blitz their way to the Zeromas as soon as they find one of the 2 key items they need for Go Mode.
Yeah, it'll be. I don't expect. It's actually. I'm surprised that Flanders didn't run and check the rat tail, but we're gonna get that checked definitely on Chocosura's end.
So Flanders might be thinking about being ready to go straight to the Fey March and take out bosses down there, because those are some of the only things Flanders has left, with the exception of ordeals.
Yeah, the Bahamut down there is not going to be overly rude. It's Chocosura who already took him out, right?
Correct.
And then who is the second? It's Kanatsu. Kanatsu at the Queen spot probably has potential to be fairly rude.
He can be mean. That wave Kinatsu does is based on Kinatsu's current HP. It is 4% of their current HP as damage to all members of your party. Can be very, very rude. And StupidSecksyFlanders, having not gone and spawned the hovercraft, finds a Tella. We find a Tella here at Damsian. And that is not getting added to the party. He already has an agility anchor in the form of Cecil, already has one Tella, doesn't need a second one. But StupidSecksyFlanders is done with their grind. He has Nuke on Palom. These aren't levels that are... Zeromus is not going to have much of a chance against StupidSecksyFlanders once StupidSecksyFlanders is able to get there. And Chocosura, having launched their hovercraft, is going to go and see what this rat tail gives. Chocosura, having only skipped Zot and the Keinazo fight, I wonder if they're going to be inclined to stay on Earth. They get the package. Chocosura is in Go Mode. StupidSecksyFlanders will be in Go Mode as soon as they check their hook. Check their rat tail.
Yeah, this just became a very exciting race. Flanders is in ready for Zeromus. Chocosura still needs his grind, but he's going to be a little bit ahead with the key item checks. They're likely gonna be in that Zeromus fight at the same time, and it's gonna be close.
I would not be surprised to see dueling Zeromus fights. Chocosura is not going to need to go and do much of anything other than change fights. He is going and picking up this Yang. He is using the Sand Ruby and picking them up. I wonder, he is probably going to be replacing Tella, to be entirely honest.
So is that an anchor, or were you slingshotting Yang to endgame levels?
Well, Cecil's in the party. He can't be an anchor.
Yes. I just saw that and it reminded me.
Yeah, so she was asking from chat, does he have Bacchus Wine? That is a good question. I don't know. Hella, while not being a fast character, is a second source of Berserk. We do have an Avenger, so Cecil's going to auto-Berserk, so you only need to Berserk the other melee fighters. But this is going to be dicey for Chocosura, potentially.
Neither of our runners have used that hook to check the Cave Eblin shop. Cave Eblin item shop is the most valuable item shop in the game, having 2 of those top tier J items. So the Bacchus wines could be hiding out there, but is the time save using the Bacchus wines worth the time loss running and checking that item shop? That's a question.
Agreed. And Chocosura is doing the package cutscene, is finding that it is a forum here. Probably is not going to go all the way through with this because you only have to burn down Mist. That gives you the crystal. Objective number 2 is complete. We're ready to go to Zeromus and Chocosura's side once we get out of this cutscene. Meanwhile, StupidSecksyFlanders is turning in their pan.
One of my favorite things about Free Enterprise is the idea that you are lugging an unconscious character through the rest of the seed if you do not complete the package events.
I failed to see what is different from a normal forum, as my forums usually seem really fond of taking naps.
Fair.
I guess this one can't go and anchor for the party because she's not allowed to. Cecil's in Chocosura's party. Stupid Sexy Flanders, however, going to go and have a double anchor setup, apparently, with both this out-of-party Porum and their current Sid anchor. And another thing we randomize is the package sprite. Normally is a set of bombs who are flying around the village burning things. Today, it's the Gelbrina dolls. Look, we all know they're evil.
I really like when the sprites line up and you have like a Dark Knight Cecil, 3 Dark Knight Cecils on screen with one of them burning down the village. It's a good time.
Yep, and Chocosura is going back to Dwarf Castle, probably to pick up more sirens and do a grind, as that's all they have left. They are ready to go to Zeromus. They have their crystal. They have a way to the Zeromus. They're out of that cutscene. Stupid Sexy Flanders, however, is probably going to be going there faster, as they have already done their grind. They have a level 52 Palom with Nuke. They're going to be able to go and just go to Zeromus. They do not need to do any additional grinding.
Yeah, both of our runners feeling the crunch here. You're in go mode. You're in over an hour. You know you're against a tough opponent in an elimination match. I think we're going to see some really high level play in just this last 10 minutes, getting to Zeromus and defeating him.
Yeah, the question for our runners right now is, how are they going to go and approach Zeromus? They have... Chocosura is getting ready to just simply go and have Rosa take the first action using that Artemis Bow Heroine Robe to just boost the ever-living daylights out of Rosa's stats. She is going to be incredibly fast and is almost guaranteed to be going first. But Stupid Sexy Flanders is launching the whale and going up to the moon.
Quint? Are we going to see a Quint from Chocosura?
That would be bold, but I think Chocosura might go and have a hard time pulling that off, just because no Bacchus wine is... I don't believe either of our runners have Bacchus wine, and that is a very crucial part of the Quint party, because they can't have a party without drinks, and this seed might be dry, but we have not gone and checked enough shops to go and know otherwise.
Flanders may be giving us a final shop check on the moon to check for those Bacchus wines, and they might get lucky there.
Yep, Flanders does only have 2 characters of Berserk, and one of them is Kane, who can use the Avenger, so he'll be auto-Berserked. His other character is going to need to just simply put up a Star Veil and start reflecting, or needs to have a character in his party using a Star Veil to reflect spells with Hallam, because you've got Nuke, you can go and just reflect spells and go hybrid strats, or you can go and... Flanders has options. He has a very balanced team, not interested in the slightest of checking that shop, just going straight down the lunar subterranean. Meanwhile, Chocosura is just blitzing through levels, getting their party up, but it is going to take a moment.
We get a final option at a character here. Don't think Flanders is going to be taking anyone, but let's see who the seed is offering up.
Another Edge. To be fair, I don't think taking Edge would have been a good idea even before grinding, simply because Edge needs a number of weapons to be kind of good.
Yeah, we want some of those high level ninja swords or that Hanzo steel to really take advantage of Edge's power.
To be fair, Edge's gear I will happily steal. Give me a bandana, give me a black belt. I want to go and equip my berserkers even better. But Stupid Sexy Flanders is getting down to the moon, is going to be getting to Zeromus before Chocosura. Chocosura hasn't even launched the whale and is still grinding. He's probably going to be wrapping up shortly because Rosa is getting up to really nice levels. She has got almost 2,000 HP. Not going to need too much more, but let's see how far Chocosura wants to go. As Stupid Sexy Flanders is going and walking the lunar subterranean, is going to be getting down there quickly.
The complete walk from the top of the lunar subterranean all the way to Zeromus is about 3 minutes. Is one of the reasons why we love to see a pass in Free Enterprise, which will zoom us right to that Zeromus fight from Tamara, or Troya. But unfortunately, this walk is the option for both of our runners.
Yeah, there is no place, even if it's at Kenazo, it is not going to be faster for Chocosura to walk down to the bottom of Feymarch, fight Kenazo, get the pass, and go that way than it would be to simply go to the moon and walk down.
On Chocosura's side, we see Cecil taking a nap. This probably because he's at 44 or 45, which is going to lock his agility at 28, and giving him a little bit of control over Threemus's overall agility, locking it to that relative agility 2.
Yes. Short version of how relative agility works. The center character in your party, unless it is vanilla agility on, is going to be the determination for the ATB for how fast it advances. You can only be 5 times faster than the middle character, the anchor, with the exception of if you have Cecil. Then it's going to be, you can only be 5 times faster than Cecil if he is in your party. StupidSecksyFlanders has a very slow Sid. He is probably going to be able to go and get all of his characters up to what we call relative agility 1, where 1 tick at the ATB is when they get 1 turn. But enough of me going on about this agility black magic. We've got some flags out in chat.
Baka, is chat getting bored? Are they starting to fall asleep out there?
I guess well, this race is wrapping up. Bedtime's coming up. Now they're not getting bored. They're getting hyped because we're about to see the form of Threemus today. Because as a randomizer, we can't go and bring Threemus into the normal boss pool. He's a bit too fast, a bit too mean, a bit too complicated, and just a bit too anticlimactic to let him be anywhere else. So instead, we give him a bit of a makeover. Gundam Pilot, Spaz, would you mind doing the honors?
Baka, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Indeed, over 450 lovingly rendered butts for us to go and beat up. We have Skull Kitty and Boardface to go and thank for that. They have gone and done a lot of work for us, and we're going to see which lovely butt we are going to be kicking tonight, as soon as this crystal is thrown.
Chocosura is checking that moon shop and getting disappointed by the lack of Bacchus wine, unfortunately.
Not a bad check, because he really needs those Bacchus wines, but StupidSecksyFlanders is starting the fight, and we are getting Valmora this. For those of you who have played the absolutely wonderful NES game Willow, this is the final boss.
You got me with this one, Baka.
I may or may not have played that game as a kid, and it's a fun game. It's like The Legend of Zelda. Think of Legend of Zelda 2 playing as Legend of Zelda 1, but with more RPG elements. It's a very fun and interesting game, to be entirely honest.
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds good.
And it's a licensed game that's based on the movie Willow, though takes a very dramatically different plot, which does help the game because the plot would be rather difficult to go and translate.
So Flanders surviving that first big bang. That Kane is with the Avenger Sword doing a couple thousand damage per swing, throwing that spoon for max quad 9s. He's in very much control over this Threemus fight.
Yep, has a Starvel up on Kane, is going to be going and letting him do damage, throwing a Cure 3 on Kane to get him topped off, while Palom is reflecting nukes, and Edge is just simply throwing every single thing he can find in the inventory to throw.
Good quad 9s on a nuke, like, you love to see that.
Yeah, that's some spicy damage. I don't think StupidSecksyFlanders is going to have a real issue with this fight, to be honest. So do you know what Palom has equipped here? I do believe he has a Stardust Rod, and probably some form. I don't know if we have much mage gear, but Stardust Rod is plus 15 to all of his stats, so that, or plus 15 to his casting stats, so not all of them, that would be a bit too much. That's what the adamant armor does. But it is a very strong boost to his attack power.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's why he's throwing out those quad 9s with that nuke. He's really helping his party.
Yeah, that's that's some good damage. Edge is not Berserk and is not going to be throwing out damage, but is throwing out damage quite nicely. So going in, making good use of that, and then Unnerfed Big Game comes out, takes out Sid, brings Palom down quite low, but is going to be able to recover, throwing a Cure 3 on Kane. Meanwhile, Chocosura is getting himself equipped and prepared for that final fight.
Of course, Cecil with the Crystal Sword is going to be throwing up a ton of damage here, but with Flanders so much further in the Threemus fight, I don't think even that's going to help Chocosura catch up.
Yeah, Chocosura unfortunately probably needs Flanders to take a wipe in this fight in order to go and come back from this. He unfortunately lost a fair amount of time. Just it's easy to bleed time in a few places. He did take on 2 checks that Flanders didn't. He did skip Zop, but a Bahamut check might have gone and given him. He might have just gone through a few fights a little bit slower. Might have just done a little bit more of something else.
Will be interesting to note where the Legend Sword is, and maybe running up to the moon a little bit faster might have gotten him go mode that much quicker.
Yeah, that is going to go and change things. But Chocosura is going to be getting into their Threemus fight. We are going to have dueling Threemus fights. We see Rocks on StupidSecksyFlanders' side, and his team is looking in great shape, going in, throwing out a reflected nuke with Callum. If this nuke goes off, this is going to be the end of Bad Mortive Mist. And instead, not even in the chance, StupidSecksyFlanders has won this race with an official time of 1 hour and 13 minutes. GG, StupidSecksyFlanders. Meanwhile, Chocosura is just getting into their fight. We're going to be holding off an interview for a moment while Chocosura goes through their fight. But this was absolutely a siege.
Yeah, not exactly a jet seed, not exactly straightforward, but both of our runners played it extraordinarily well.
Yeah, I think on Chocosura's side, we're going to go and see a very, very powerful team go and just do some very mean things to this Bedmore Miss. Ooh, 4,720 damage to Threemus. Definitely not a small amount of damage.
Yeah, that Cecil is going to be doing quick work of Threemus. I think if this was just a little quicker, or if they entered the Threemus fight at the same moment, Chocosura may have been through it first.
Yeah, it is hard to go and see exactly where things shifted between the two runners, just because there's so many small things you can do in a race. Did Chocosura chop a bit too much? Did he go and spend too much time on some bosses? Was it really worthwhile to do that to Bahamut when he first went down there and have to burn those star veils? There are a lot of choices you can make in these seeds, and it's really, really hard to go and see which ones are the right or wrong ones. Chocosura does have one key item spot check up over StupidSecksyFlanders, and getting as many checks in as fast as you can is usually the thing you want to do. It's just sometimes that's just how things go.
Throwing out kind of an unneeded Cure 3 there, giving Rosa something to do while the Zerkers just pluck away at Threemus.
That Mortis is just going to go and have a really bad time. Apparently, when you're the only mage in a fight against a bunch of melee fighters, you currently get interrupted a lot, because I think we went and saw Threemus try and cast a Big Bang and then reset because we did the HP refill.
You'll love to see it.
chat calling for Quint, but I don't blame chocosura for not going and doing that. Quint is a meme, I'm sorry. It is something that you do when you want to be really silly, or go and set yourself up for a very, very interesting and harsh Threemus fight that you need to be over level for.
Yeah, but if, coming in second place here, giving the people what they want, I wouldn't fault him for that.
I would not go and fault him for a swag finish, that's for sure. Because I don't think we're going to see another Big Bang. We've got so much damage coming out now. Yep, we're not even seeing Rosie get another turn after that Gear 4. Bad Mortis is down. chocosura finishing with an official time of 1 hour, 16 minutes, 57 seconds. We are going to get our runners in for a double interview.
Not even a single rock was wasted in that fight.
Threemus knows that they weren't even a stone throw away from victory. But overall, a very quick and fast race, and we are joined by StupidSecksyFlanders for now. GG,
hi.
How are you feeling on that victory?
That was scary at the end, to have to walk all the way down to Threemus from Earth. I thought, okay, I faded something on Earth somewhere that had the pass, and I'm going to be very upset when I enter the battle and I see a dot done. But I figured it was going to be tight just because the objectives kept coming up until that third one, so it was just like whoever finds it first.
Yeah, that's entirely fair. chocosura, how are you feeling in at that same time?
I kept telling myself, I know I'm going to lose this race because two things I shouldn't have done. One was that Bahamut, and two was the Gold Bez, which I actually could have done that fight because I think I had a Healman robe, and all I had to do was just come in with everyone dead except Rosa and Cecil and kill the Gold Bez. And I was super sad to find out it was the Legend Sword. That broke my heart when I saw that.
I mean, I'm not going to blame you for not doing that fight. A lot of the things we go and say is just because you can't do it doesn't mean you should. And that Gold Bez fight wasn't guaranteed to be fast.
True. And
it was going to be a long walk back in. So it is just... Sometimes things break out. You did go and have that one check over StupidSecksyFlanders. That is just... Sometimes things don't shake your way, and... It was still a very close race. Both of you going back and forth, hitting some interesting spots.
Yeah, I figured this was going. I figured it's going to be a scary race. As soon as I saw the Earth Crystal opener, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is probably going to be a Jet Seed. And if one of the key items needed for either a Baron Key or the package was on the overworld somewhere, then this was going to be really scary.
And then you did Antlion.
Yeah.
StupidSecksyFlanders, how did you feel about finding that Baron Key at Antlion that you had faded for so long?
Well, I felt two ways about it. On the one hand, okay, I think I found it at the 25-minute mark or something like that, and I'm like, okay, so the first thing that my opponent probably found was the Baron Key, and then I'm like, well, wait a second, if that's the first thing you find, we had King and Rosa to start with, and then, there's not a lot of DPS there unless you find some gear, because when I went into the Antlion's cave, I didn't loot at that point. I had very good equipment at that point, so I wasn't bothering with looting. So I was like, well, maybe at least I can tear through Baron quickly and make up time there if I'm a little bit behind, because I've waited so long to do that check. Because I feel like a couple of advantages simply by doing Zot early, because I had levels to go do Baron first, the Baron Inn. So I was kind of like, yeah, it could be bad, but it also I could have benefited by being able to just do it faster.
That's fair. And speaking of that Baron Inn, chocosura What were you feeling when you found that Dark Knight Cecil in the second spot when you had just Rosa and Avenger Kane going?
Um, I figured I didn't have enough HP to tank his first Dark Wave, so I wanted to come back later. I could have tried jumping over it, but I was never good at timing his jump over his Dark Wave. So I figured let's not try that and come back when I have at least around 500 HP. I can tank at least one Dark Wave. But turns out I didn't need to, as Avenger Kane did work. So.
Yeah, and Stupid Sexy Flanders. Go ahead.
No, Flanders, you went through a good portion of the seed without a character with warp. How did that affect your routing, and what were you thinking trying to make your way through the seed?
Well, so when I saw the Fey March bosses, I don't think at that point I had found Palom. And I said to myself, I will do the Fey March bosses if I don't find warp, because Bahamut would at least have just been you throw up a Star Veil every now and then. It just takes a little time, but it's basic. It seems free, though. I found out that had nothing there. And then I had enough damage output with my physical fighters that I think Kainazo, it wouldn't have been super easy, but it wouldn't have been impossible. But it did make me very weary of going to Dwarf Castle early, because you never want to go there without warp in these particular flag sets. It just seems like a waste to do it. And luckily for me, I stumbled upon Palom. Forget where it was. But Baron, I think it was, maybe. I don't remember.
Oh, you didn't have to tell her?
No, I didn't get tell at first because I didn't do the hovercraft until I got the rat tail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was somewhere else though. I forgot.
He was on Hobbs.
And I never did ordeals.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, I faded ordeals and I did hovercraft just to get rat tail. I forget where Palom was off the top of my head right now, but I saw that I was like, yes, great. Baron. Yeah.
Baron, yeah.
Yeah,
Baron
and so I was like, great, I can just scramble an egg and we're all good. Cool. So.
Did you do your grind on eggs or on the
all eggs?
Okay. Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
You did grind as soon as you got to 10 key items, Flanders. Was there a specific reason for that? Were you thinking of just going through the options you had and deciding you wanted to be at Z levels for whatever you had to take left, or was there something else you were thinking of?
No, it was pretty straightforward at that point. I said, okay, I have one more item to get. I might have to go to the moon anyway. Eggs are quicker. Let me do eggs and just get it done now before I get to the moon, and find and have to go searching for this. If I have to do some weird save scumming and resetting, I already have the levels. I don't have to worry about getting those extra levels by fighting something and then I save scum out and I lose the levels. I wanted to be sure that I had those going into the Threemus fight no matter what. If I had to go to the moon and find something and then come, yeah.
And speaking of gaining ludicrous amounts of power, chocosura, when you found that crystal sword, were you annoyed when you went and dismissed Cecil at Dwarf Castle and to only pick up the second one in Watery Pass?
Not really, because usually if I take a second Cecil, it's because I have either a second crystal sword or Excal, but I didn't have any of that, so I just didn't bother. I'm glad I did take that Cecil though for that crystal sword.
Yeah, he certainly had a lot of power. Were you when you saw that crystal sword, Flanders, were you making any considerations based on that, or were you just committed to not having Cecil in your party?
Well, I was in go mode. I think I was just when I saw the crystal.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Sheila gave me the crystal, and I saw that. I'm like, no, I'm not taking that. Because it was just I was like, watch her have the pass, and I skip it. So that's why I went to her and did that.
Right. I forgot you went and checked that. You checked that before you checked that after you checked Rat Tail. Excuse me.
No, that's okay.
The Yang slingshot as a latch ditch effort to get a little bit extra Zerker power, also a great move. But were you at all considering giving Chat a Quint play?
Uh, I don't. I don't even think I had the equipment for that to be. Oh, maybe I did. I don't know. Oh yeah, I did have the Hero Invoke for Bosa. So I wasn't even thinking about it, to be honest. I really wasn't. But I guess I could have.
You were just focused on going and tearing through that Zeromas, which you did with
Yeah.
Vim and Vigor.
I figured. Okay, this is an elimination race, so let's not play around here. Let me try to actually, do this traditionally and not do something silly and end up losing.
Absolutely fair.
Yeah.
Let's go and get some final thoughts from each of you on this tournament so far. Chocosura, you are unfortunately eliminated with not getting up to the 2 wins to get into the second race. What are your thoughts on this tournament as you participated?
I think it's a great turn. It was a great tournament, and I had a good run. Unfortunately, I didn't play to the best of my capabilities. I didn't play how I wanted to play, really. But I told myself if I were to get eliminated, I was gonna step away from the game for a little bit. Come back after I, because I'm kind of burnt out on it right now anyway. So I told myself I'm gonna, step away from the game for a little while, then come back later on when the next tournament rolls around.
As someone who did that after playing in Zima Zone 2, I completely understand that.
Yeah.
And Flanders, how are you feeling about the tournament now? You are advancing. You have a shot at getting to tables as you are advancing into the second Magma play-in race. How are you feeling going into that?
I'm kind of blown away that I even have a shot at tables, to be honest. Yeah, it's been really. It's obviously it's been quite fun, and it's been really cool to have like the races streaming almost on a daily basis, because just watching and picking up little things that I wouldn't have thought of on my own, and trying out different things here and there in practice, and just a lot of risk and reward factors go on in these races, a lot of meta stuff, and I kind of like that aspect of it, thinking what won't go on first, and if I do something weird first, will that give me an advantage? So it's been really interesting to play it. I've been playing it a little bit more that way rather than traditionally, and it bit me in the butt in the last race, but this time it seems to have panned out. So yeah, triple Tella. I mean, come on.
That's right. You didn't get stuck with any good options at that race, did you?
Yes.
Well, Gundam Pilot, do you have any final questions for our runners?
No final questions from me. Just GGs to both of you. It was a solidly played seed. Really unfortunate that someone had to lose here. Looking forward to watching more of both your races in the future.
Agreed. You're both two fantastic runners, and thank you for putting on a fantastic show for us tonight.
Thank you guys for restreaming and commentating. Thank you to Zoe out there.
Yes, thank you to Zoe, our restreamer, and X-Pancras, our tracker. This has been a great race, and we're going to be sending you along to another great race in progress. We're going to be sending you onto the Bahamut X versus Vitasia match on Free Enterprise. So if you are enjoying Free Enterprise, stick around. You're going to be going and getting a bunch more.
Yes, more Free Enterprise all the time.
Just as a reminder, please do not spoil the results of this race to those who are watching the race on Free Enterprise. They may wish to be surprised by the results of this race, so please don't tell them the results, but let them know that this was a great one.